Nick, at the risk of you rolling your eyes at me, do you know what Giannis and I have in common? Besides the deep love of Greek salads, and I always add grilled chicken to mine, hold the grape leaves. Hold on, my friend. Giannis and I always keep the main thing the main thing. Giannis here during the timeout last night, totally focused on basketball play coming in. Full, undivided attention his team has. And me, last weekend at the playground with my children. Totally focused on them and them alone. My kids who, by the way, you see that green sign stuck to me? They put a kick me sign. I spent the whole day at the playground, had no idea that was on my back. What's important is that me and Giannis always keeping the main thing, my friends. Kevin Wilds.
Jenna, you are interesting. You are the most athletic on this show. Oh my goodness.
Take it in.
You played soccer? Was that in Jamaica? Was that in Jamaica?
No, that was 2 weeks ago in Midtown Manhattan.
All right, so here is Titans offensive lineman Taylor Lewan with his beautiful daughter, Wynn. This was on Sunday as the Nashville Predators are playing the Carolina Hurricanes. So they play this, they're like, oh, there he is. Then, guess what they put on the Jumbotron? A flashback from 2018 when the entire Titans O-line was there. Can we show that, Katanik? Okay, now he's crushing beers off of a catfish. so now Taylor's watching this. Meanwhile, he just had his beautiful little daughter. He's like, oh, we need to turn up? Go back to Taylor now after he has seen himself drinking a beer on the Jumbotron. He's like, all right, it's on now. Chugs a beer, not enough, turn up, take his shirt off. Meanwhile, his daughter is still there like, I thought we were just watching a hockey game. Fantastic job by Taylor.
Listen.
Way to turn up. Hey, it's tonight at 8 o'clock. Big win by Nashville over Carolina.
Why is he playing into the stereotype of a football player? This is not how we act. We're not this wild. What is he doing?
This is how you act. He's an offensive lineman.
It might be,
Brandon. Call CPS.
I'm afraid it might be how you act.
He's a big, dumb offensive lineman.
That was great. Hey, let's play a little drawing a blank. Back to the NBA now. The Bucks used a 3-point barrage last night to just dominate Game 2, seize control in their first-round series with the Miami Heat. Giannis, 31 and 13 last night. So, Brandon, your biggest takeaway from the Bucks win was blank.
Pure domination. That's what it was. I mean, from the start. I mean, a minute and 30 seconds in, they led the entire way. And the Heat couldn't even get close to smelling a lead. It was that bad. The other thought that came up watching this game, because it really wasn't entertaining, you know, because you thought that'll be a better series when you go back to what happened in the bubble last year. But that's what it took me back to. You know, the Miami Heat had an edge because of their mindset, their leadership. And it shows just how important that was last year in the bubble, because this was pure domination. How do you go from dominating these guys last year in the bubble to this game looking like you're not even supposed to be on the court? So, Nick, this was pure domination for me. And I need you to also do me a favor. Please, 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 when we get to round 2, and then we got the Nets, potentially the Bucks, or whenever they meet, I don't want you ever to reference this this series, because the Miami Heat don't even deserve to be on the court with the Bucks, man.
We won't have to. We won't have to. No. Nets-Bucks is going to maybe be the series of the playoffs. But I'm going to look at this from the Heat perspective, because there's a great book out there I recommend for everyone called The Psychopath Test. It's like an actual test you can run to see if someone's psychopath. Well, I've come up with a sequel to that. It's called the Superstar Test. It's only one question. The question is this: can you be terrible in a playoff game and the shows like this give you a pass? If the answer is yes, you are not a superstar. Jimmy Butler, 8 for 32, games 1 and 2. Nary a word of criticism. Jimmy Butler, not a superstar. Julius Randle, anybody see his game 1? Oh my God, he's an MVP candidate. Guess what? Total pass for an abysmal game 1. Not a superstar. On the other hand, Anthony Davis, Terrible game one. Annihilated. Anthony Davis, superstar. So if you're wondering, like, is Jason Tatum a superstar? Well, he went 6 for 20 in game one of his series, and nobody cares. So the answer is no. So there's a good and a bad to that, but Jimmy Butler, great player, not a superstar, as evidenced by the fact he's been terrible through 2 games, and nobody's blaming him for anything, Wilds.
I mean, that was just a brilliant take, and I loved it. And what was the first part again? There's a great book called The Psychopath Test, and I should read it to find out if I'm a psychopath? That's what you were talking about? Can you clarify that?
Well, to find out if other people are psychopaths. Yeah, it's a great book. Yeah. It's a
great book. Here's a book recommendation. It's called The Psychopath Test. Check it out. Figure out if you're a psychopath. By the way, on to Jimmy Butler. What? It's a morning show. What are you talking about? My God. All right. Speaking of odd things, Trevor Ariza, what are you up to? We're not in WWE, buddy. I know your career's coming down to the end, and maybe Jim McMahon is looking for people to, cast in the upcoming WrestleMania. But look, you tackle Giannis, I guess I could say, all right, maybe you're trying to help guide his fall. But the push-up at the end seems unnecessary and just overall kind of weak. Nick, what was your thoughts on this?
Somebody's got to take Trevor Ariza out. Brandon, Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know who it is. If it's PJ Tucker, I don't know if it's Robin Lopez. Or is somebody convinced Robin Lopez that Trevor Ariza is a mascot? Some people will get that reference, some people won't. That right there, the push-up off the guy's body, that is this close to the step over putting your midsection in a guy's face. Can't do it. You got to knock him down. You got to take him out now.
And that's
okay.
And that's okay. I run into Ariza all the time in South Florida. He obviously played for the Miami Heat. I live down here. He's a nice guy, but he is cut from a different cloth. This dude is an old school basketball player. So yes, what's supposed to happen is somebody on the Bucks is supposed to come out, knock him inside his head, tell him stop hitting our superstar. By the end of the day, this is basketball. Toughen up. Toughen up.
By the way, I meant Brooke Lopez, not Robin. My apologies.
It's okay.
We head to the Bay, where Warriors GM Bob Myers talked about an extension for Steph Curry. He's confident they'll get something done. He said, quote, "I don't see any reason not to be optimistic." So, Brandon, the Warriors' confidence in a Steph Curry extension is blank.
It's warranted. Look, a lot of the conversation the last couple months, and I was one of those indulging in this conversation of Steph Curry going to Los Angeles and teaming up with LeBron James. That's all media driven right now. Steph Curry hasn't said anything about it. He hasn't had a frown on his face outside of them getting their butts whooped a couple games back in April. But other than that, this is all media driven. Look, they've won several championships together. They rebuilt this organization. They brought life back to the Bay. You're talking about the Raiders, who haven't really been good for a long time before they made the move to Vegas. So I don't see Steph Curry having the traits of a player that's going to stand up, ask for a trade, have these huge demands. Now, if I was in Steph's shoes, I would be looking elsewhere because I'm still in the prime of my career and I want to win championships. This guy could go down as a guy that has 5, 6 rings, but I don't think we're going to see that if he stays there. But unfortunately, Steph doesn't have those